Hello, everybody. Lobotomized Logan here. I hope you all enjoyed that Nintendo Direct. And honestly, I don't think it's as bad as people were saying. But my goodness, I was off on my predictions. The only two I actually got right was Persona 3 Reload and 80% of these games being on game keycards. But with that out of the way, what were my favorite announcements of this Direct? And you're seeing the first one right here, Chronos New Dawn. It is my favorite game that was announced at the Direct. It looks really interesting, and we don't tend to get a lot of survival horror stuff on the Nintendo Switch. So this being an Unreal Engine 5 survival horror big budget game, it looks like they're taking a lot of inspiration from Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 with the over the shoulder third person shooter shtick in a horror environment. Looks pretty impressive and pretty good. I will be buying it on day one after I make sure the performance is up to snuff, but it looks really good and I'm very excited. The next game wasn't in my predictions, but it was super easy to guess as it was rated for the Switch 2. And ironically, it's also coming to the Nintendo Switch, but that is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I remember when Xenoverse 2 came to the original Switch and I put hundreds of hours into that game. It was so addicting, and honestly, I think I'm probably going to end up doing the same with Sparking Zero, but it's pretty funny it's coming to the original Switch considering the fact that it was a current gen only game and it didn't even release on PS4 or Xbox One. So that'll be interesting to see if they decide to do a game keycard or a Nintendo Switch 2 edition and put it all on one cartridge. Also, as much as I love Dragon Ball, I would not recommend buying this game at full price in November. Wait till February, March, April. I guarantee you this thing's going to go on sale for like $30 physically because anime games do not hold their value very well, and you would be quite foolish to buy it day one. But overall, I'm still very happy it's coming to the Switch 2. Next up is a game I'm a little peeved about. It's the only one I got right prediction wise. It's Persona 3 Reload, and I can't even be happy about it because my god is Atlas ripping Nintendo Switch 2 owners off. Not only is Persona 3 Reload over a year and a half old at this point, the DLC is a year old, and they couldn't even give us a complete edition. So not only is the game going to be a $60 full price release on a game keycard, it also doesn't even include the DLC that's already a year old. They are selling us the base game and the expansion separately, even though this is a year and a half old game and a port. Usually companies would do like a complete edition or even just a discount on the DLC, which I'm not saying they have to, we're not entitled to it, but with the game being as old as it is and a port, you think that they would throw us at least one bone with it either being fully on cartridge or it having the DLC included. So again, as excited as I am for Persona 3 Reload on Switch 2, this is another game I will be waiting on a sale for, especially with the DLC being as expensive as it is. But I'm happy it's here nonetheless, even if I'm not going to buy it day one. I liked the Funny Mouse game. This was probably my second favorite thing announced at the show today. I don't know what it is. It kind of looks like a Unity asset flip, but I'm here for it nonetheless. It looks so goofy, and I will definitely be playing it on the Switch 2 when it comes out in 2026. The reason you're on this quest is because the witch you're helping, which you're her familiar, fallen ill, and you need to get her a cure or help her sickness so she can keep doing help for the townsfolk. It just looks like a really charming game, and it's also going to be 4-player co-op. I'm hoping it has crossplay support, but we don't know. Overall, most interesting game of the show for me, even if it's not the most exciting one. Monster Hunter Stories 3 is a great game to have as an exclusive, especially for the first year, but I have never been that interested in the RPG side series as much as like the main action hunting games. But who knows, depending on how much this draws me in, I might buy this game, considering it's the third one, and it's probably going to end up being a Switch exclusive for at least a year. Overall, I'm happy for the people who do like Monster Hunter Stories. I just don't have much to say about it, but as the opener, it was a pretty decent opener. Pac-Man 2 Repack is a game I've been waiting for my entire life. It is one of those games I played as a really, really young kid and I've never gotten back into, so I hope the Switch 2 version performs well enough so I can hop back into this classic and actually finish it this time, instead of getting stuck in Pac-Man's neighborhood house forest thingy and never progressing the game. But it's also launching for $30, so I can forgive the game keycard on this considering the budget of the title and the fact that it just looks phenomenal. If a game's under $40, then as much as I don't want it to be a game key card with the way it cost, I can see why it's a game key card. Overall, we'll probably end up buying this at launch just to have something to play on my Switch 2 in September. But pretty excited for this one. Low-key underdog of the show. Then the elephant in the room, the closers. Now, don't get me wrong, I love RPGs, but my god, I did not care about these games. Octopath Traveler 0, which launches in December, is supposedly a prequel, if that Fat Zero is to be believed. And then we have this game, The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tale, which I'm going to hope is a working title and not the full name, because that is a mouthful. which honestly actually looks kind of decent. As much as I am fatigued on HD 2D, at least it's going for an action RPG style instead of a turn-based like most of the games usually are. But for the love of God, can we please get rid of the medieval style? I want the HD 2D style to be explored in like Cyberpunk in a modern setting. I am so sick and tired of getting these 1500s European style medieval RPGs. I know it's iconic and I know they do it for a reason, but out of every HD 2D game we've had, I think the only one that explores settings outside of medieval Europe is Live Alive. And even that still has fantasy settings. But overall, I'm glad it's an action RPG. It looks a lot more interesting than something like Octopath Traveler 0. And depending on how much it is and when it releases, I might pick it up and give it a shot. Who knows? I might really love the demo. But for a closer of the show, kind of disappointing when we needed to be reassured that the Switch 2 has third-party exclusives and third-party games. So, what do I rank the Direct overall? If we're going by a number scale, I would say it's a solid 6. Great games that would have been bangers if accompanied by some larger titles. The issue with most of the games at today's presentation were they were either remakes, remasters, or ports that were held back by corporate greed like with Persona 3, or are just really late like with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Overall, a 6 out of 10 Direct. Here are my rankings up on the screen. Overall, decent Direct to start the Nintendo Switch 2's lifespan, but I'm hoping we get a really big one in September that's like headlining a bunch of really important games that we need and really cool third-party stuff. But with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and Lobotomized Logan out.